Ooh, hello there, my fellow miners and crafters. Good times with Scar here, and welcome back to Bikini Bottom Island, where in our last episode we built this amazing tower themed after the BioShock game and its tower at the start of the game, and I think it's coming out really well. But we definitely need to dive into this tower and really enhance it with some amazing details, because we're going to be pulling out chisel and bits. And it's gonna get amazing, because this is the first time I've really used it in a long time, and I'm really excited about the possibilities. So let's kind of go from the bottom to the top. So down at the bottom here, this is where we can really enhance the design by adding that Art Deco golden door from the start of the game. It's kind of just slightly open, kind of luring you inside. It has some lamps on the sides. So I think we could do something really cool with that. Now, a tricky aspect of it is to find something that's like a seamless gold that we can work with chisel and bits. I cannot find that yet, but I'm sure together we can find something that'll work. Potentially add some lampposts on the sides and a nice little walkway. I was thinking that we could build a walkway going downwards this way, and then another one off of this side that looks like it's kind of crumbled away. Like if the cliff has eroded off of the side, I think could be really nice. Now, moving up a little bit further, up into the windows, it's tricky because if you look at like photos of this particular tower, there's a couple different designs of the way these windows are. There's some with no windows and just these gold patterns, and some with windows. It's very interesting. I think we'll find our own way through there. And then up at the top, there's some designs that we can work up here with, but I almost think I want to do something very unique at the top. Something that really kind of solidifies this whole kind of theme that we're trying to achieve. Do something a little different, but I haven't quite decided what that is. That's something, again, we can work on together. And then for these windows, I think it's kind of the same that we'll do down here. We're going to do some really cool kind of crisscrossing patterns. And I think we can do that here to a smaller extent, really kind of enhancing that forced perspective feel. And as for the island, as you can see, it is becoming a lush green island. So on our last stream here, we got the green grass growing. And of course, we worked on the design of the island from the outside. We added the waterfalls and different things like that. I think our man-made little island here is definitely coming out really nice. But once we add that chisel and bit detail on the outside, I think that is going to be absolutely amazing. If you're a fan of chisel and bits, hit that like button, because we're going to do some amazing things today. So let's fly on down here to our furnace. As you can see, it's working its way, because we're going to be hopefully using some of the flat colored blocks. Definitely one of my top 5 favorite mods, and I think we have everything to construct this particular block. And if you're familiar with our prior season of Foolcraft, we use this thing very heavily. And that's not it. Okay. Oh, there it is. Apparently it's very specific. It wants these things in the right order. Well, there we go. Bam. Wait, did I get it? Yeah. Oh, wow, we can make 2 of these. Let's put one of those in there for just for spare. Just for spare. So if we jumped into this, as you can see, we're not going to get anything in the window. But if we have a bit of dye, here, let's just break this down a little bit. There we go. And do we have a little cobblestone? Can I get a cobblestone block, please? Can I get a cobblestone? That would be fantastic. There we go. So if we jump in here now, you can see that with just this one piece of dye, we get all these variations on red. It's really amazing. And of course, these are all seamless. So well, that's all the dye I have. But as you can see how that is fully seamless. That is absolutely beautiful. So you can take other colors, mix them together. And I think you can do glowstone too, which is really nice. So that's definitely what we're going to work on. So let's shoot back over to Bikini Bottom Island. There we go, let it all fill in. And we still have this under section here, which will be really cool on our transportation forms down there to get back to the main island. So why don't we just take a break here? Why don't we grab some more supplies, because I'm gonna need way more dye. And of course, try to figure out how this kind of walkway is going to go down, and think about what kind of gold blocks we're going to use for this doorway. I'm Scrooge McScar here with my piles of gold, trying to determine what color we are going to use for our door. You know, the biggest tricky point to this whole thing is that I want to use chisel and bits. And if you do that, like I said in the intro, it cuts them in half. But you know what? I think we're just going to have to get over that fact. But looking through all the gold, it's such a difficult choice because I really like this one because it's the cleanest in terms of no like crisscrossing lines, but I don't want it to look like you're walking into a disco. You know, that might not be a bad thing, but in this case, we're not looking to walk into a disco. So we're going to keep looking for blocks. This one in particular looks amazing. So it's a block of brass from Railcraft, and a little shout out to Railcraft. Railcraft has some of the best colored blocks in the game. Last season, we built half of our builds out of Railcraft blocks. Anyway, so if we click this, and if I go through the pattern here for a second, I'm trying to find how to make this. Oh, that's not it. Oh boy, where are we going? We're going down the rabbit hole of the JEI. Which button is it that shows how to make this? Oh, it's killing me here. Hold on. We're going to figure this out together. Oh, here we go. So you need molten zinc and molten copper. Now, copper is easy. I cannot find zinc. I have searched high and I have searched low, and there is no zinc in the world. Like, I have chopped out a lot of blocks and I got nothing. Anyway, let's get busy here. So let's grab out some blocks here. See, I was going through some of these with chisel and bits. Let me grab just a couple of you guys. There we go. Get you in the inventory. There you go. Appreciate y'all. And then let's grab this guy. There we go. And we'll swoop that up. And let's grab a couple of these. There we go. And then we're going to break those down together. Grab that. Beautiful. So what I want to do is I actually want to work at the top of the build a little bit. Did it get like super dark all of a sudden? Is it? Oh, maybe it's nighttime, Scar. You know, the sun goes down and everything at some point of the day. I was like, why is it dark? This is so confusing. Anyway, let's jump up here and take a peek at this. So these pieces, I want to kind of work my way down. It'll give me more time to think and everything along those lines. Also, it's getting super dark and I'm probably just going to have to sleep, but that's okay. So as you can see, just trying to kind of bring that together. Okay, something's just not right. The sky is giving me the creeps. What is, oh no, oh my gosh, it's literally an eclipse. Oh, that's amazing. I was like, something is just like not right because I knew I slept a moment ago because I had to kick myself because I got stuck in the game. Oh, that's so cool that it's a solar eclipse. Yeah, that's amazing. When the solar eclipse actually happened here where I live, we had just the most sliverous of slivers that kept it from going like pretty well dark, but it was such an eerie feeling, that light that cast. And it was just like nothing that I've ever really experienced light-wise. It was just like a really spooky feel. And you think about like ancient humans when that would happen. Can you imagine what went through their minds during that process? Oh man, there was like a really kind of like creepy feeling, especially when all the birds run for the trees and there's these strange wave patterns. So if you're looking up at the eclipse, which is almost done, but at the actual like totality, oh well, I'm gonna mispronounce that, it's fine. Right at the point where it's at full, there's these weird ripply waves that go on the ground, and I saw that and the birds and I was like, this is crazy. I'm loving this. I like that. That looks really sweet, actually. Let's see if we can maybe just enhance it ever so slight. Yes, there we go. That's looking fantastic. And then let's jump up here together and work on this a little bit more. But did you guys see the eclipse when it happened? I was looking through when it'll happen again, and it's not going to be for a while. But what's funny is there's actually a lot of eclipses, but most of them aren't over land. Like they're over the ocean or something like that, and nobody ever sees those. But it was really cool just to see what I actually saw. I kind of regret not going and actually looking for the eclipse, you know, actually going to the place of totality. Is that the right word? There we go. See, in the end, I figure it out. Wow, that looks actually fantastic. I'm loving it. I wish I would have, but yeah, maybe next time or whenever there's something new. What I really want to see actually is some meteors. I really want to see like a proper meteor shower. You know, the full gamut, you know? I want to see the whole thing. Got to do that sometime. Anyway, look at this. This is looking fantastic. So what we need to do is take these designs and kind of really enhance them throughout the entire build. So another area that I want to work with a little bit is this area. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab the draw of the regions and just kind of like play with this a little bit. If like we started cutting this block out and just kind of carving it back a little bit, trying to find the right way of doing this is a little bit tough because if we shoot over here, we start really kind of like cutting into it a little more than I anticipated. But if we take out our plane tool, maybe we back off the sides just a little bit. There we go. Just little details like that. And we bring those in. I think this will really enhance the design. So it'll take a little while, maybe even pull this particular block. So from here outwards and maybe change it color wise. Might actually look really cool. Anyway, I'm going to continue to work up at the top, finish out this, but I'm loving this. Like that's looking really cool. Anyway, let me work on this and I'll be right back. And like that, a little chisel, and we've got some really cool details emerging on our top piece here. So as you guys can see, I've kind of rounded some of the edges a little bit. I've added this little like nook right here. I think we can add like a little splash of color into that. And of course, I think all these little details are definitely starting to color, but let's grab out the tools and work together a little bit. So I kind of want to open this up a little bit. In terms of the actual window, I don't know what I want to do. I almost feel like I want to put like some form of like a grate. So some kind of like black or gold lines that kind of go back and forth and having it kind of open air in the interior. I think that actually would look really cool. So something like that sounds very nice. So yeah, just opening it up like that, I think looks really cool. Let's break this down to this and open this up just a little bit more. There we go. So yeah, I guess the determination we'll have to make is, do we want it to be kind of like black lines going across, or maybe gold, or I've almost got kind of a dark green vibe going, but we'll see where it takes us. So I think that's looking good. This little spot right here needs something, and I'm feeling like something ornamental. I know in the actual design, they have some lanterns, but that could go awry real quick if we try to do something like that. But I do like the roof line at the top. I think that's come out really, really nice. So yeah, it's kind of just back and forth at this point, kind of opening up the design, seeing where it'll take us. Let's grab out, let's see. Yes, this is the brownstoner right here. And this truly is like one of my favorite blocks. There's so much variety, having the clean textures, and of course like these particular ones down here with the lines, and of course even with the small blocks, there's so much possibility in terms of design. So let's take this guy and then let's just kind of break this down a little bit. And once we get a design that we're happy with, then we can take it and do the little paper trick and then be able to really get rolling. Now this back piece, I feel like we could probably fill that in if we want, because that does look a little hokey. There we go. And we'll pull that down by like 1. So something like that could be cool. Let's go back to here and kind of cut that back. So like little things like that, I think could be really, really cool. Let's move in like that, something like that, and potentially run up a small column of detail upwards like this. Now this might be a little bit tricky, because once we get to this point where it kind of arches down, that could start to look kind of ugly, not right. But I like the general design. I think we could work with this, maybe even just run it all the way like up to there. I don't know. I do like the design. I do think there's possibility with this, and maybe knock off the ends like that. So yeah, there's definitely possibility with this. Let's see if we can copy this and see how it looks when we place it over. Let's do actually the replace. There we go. Yeah, I'm liking that. Let's shoot down here and just replace this and see how that looks. Boom and a biome. There we go. Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. That's it. So I think the main issue we have is this line going downwards. How we can blend this line into this archway. That right there is our tricky feat that we need to overcome. So let me give a little thought to it. Slowly but surely, we are rounding out this build. As you can see, we're getting so much definition and detail built into it. I love the domed roof now, and of course, our little arches up here at the top. I think these are coming out really nice. So remember how we kind of had a predicament of how we were going to do these pieces. So I just kind of brought it up to the point where it kind of indents inward, and I put a placeholder of a little bit of that darker color in there, because, you know, we might change it once we get a little further in and we start adding more colors into the window frames themselves. Now, one thing I noticed, I did this thing. Let me connect. Yeah, it's connect materials. And I went into, wait, where'd it go? It's gone. Oh, just down here. There it is. I thought this looked really cool up close, like getting that extra level of detail there, but pushing back and looking from a distance, it doesn't look very good. It kind of clashes. It really sticks out like a sore thumb. So I'm actually going to remove it for now, but it's something to take into account when you are doing these things, is to are we removing it? There we go. Is to always look from a distance, look up close, kind of take both into account, but weigh the distance more than up close, because most people will view this from a distance. So that is something to take into account when you're building and things along those lines, especially up high. Like, nobody's going to get up into the little details, but once you're kind of pushed way back, see how things change dramatically within the design. Think of it as like an impressionist painting, things along those lines. You want to step back, view it from a distance. So yeah, I'm loving it up there. Now, the next thing we need to do is start thinking about these kind of little pedestals, if you will, that go around. I'd love to kind of round them off a little bit. So that's something I'd like to do. Now, these windows are a huge focal point of the general design of the tower. So we're gonna really need to think of something cool in a way that these things can really shine as the main detail. But I love looking up at this portion. So if you look real closely together, see it? See it right there? Look at all that detail. And then once you get to here, it's just big blocks. So I can't wait to kind of carve in and carve out those little details that make them stand out a little bit more. It's gotten a little bit laggy in the last little bit, so I'm kind of bracing myself a little bit here. But yeah, it's these pieces right here that I want to do something cool, but I haven't decided. Is this what I'm looking for? Yeah, there it is. Let me grab that. See, one thing we could do is kind of fill in some of these gaps and just kind of find our way through there. Just don't want it to look like little squares and then carved off on one side. Like, I don't know, that could be an option to kind of go around. But then on the other hand, these straight pieces look a little funny with this being so jagged. See how it's very jagged? And then of course this top level right here, we could use something. One thing I'd actually like to do is just be able to paint onto a block and like add moss or something like that, or weather it. That would be a really cool mod if you could just overlay a texture onto another block and kind of paint in something with an actual brush. That would be a great mod. Like, tell me right now, that would be a great mod, right? Just thought of that. Like, yeah, that would be a really sweet mod. So something like that could be really cool. And then maybe even push in to be like right here. I don't know. I want this to be more rounded, but I don't want this thing to look really out of place, like start thickening it up and making it look a little bit weird. So I don't know. We'll think about that. As for these windows down here, one thing I've been considering is starting to kind of push back a little bit in some of these pieces. So we would go up here a little bit like that, kind of push in a little bit. I think that could look really, really nice. But yeah, it's all trial and error. It's all figuring out as we go along. No real I don't even know what I was trying to say there. I'm trying to actually say is there's no pre-plan. It's just kind of a flow, flowing in, flowing out of the design. And I think it's coming out pretty cool. So let me think about these rails going upwards. Let me think about this pedestal. Think about where we're going to take this. So I'll be right back. That was a marathon chisel and bit session, but we've got the middle section chiseled down. And I think it is looking really cool. So let's start up at the top here. As you can see, the pedestal is looking pretty nice. I've kind of carved back a little bit. So I gave it a bit of a crown molding edge. So I think that really helped kind of break it up from that just solid block that we had there. And then sneaking on down here, as you can see, I've kind of tapered this back. So starting at the highest point here, I've tapered it back to this point, and that mimics the general design of the windows on the real tower. And I think it looks pretty cool. It's at least as close as we can get into this particular sphere of tools that we have within this mod pack and Minecraft in general. And I think it's looking cool. I love these posts. Like, look at all that detail going downwards. There's also these little tiny little lines that are spaced about a block apart. And I think that looks really cool. Moving down here, I still might add just a little more detail around these particular spots. And then everything below that is a work in progress still. So we definitely still need to get to that. But I'm absolutely loving that, because look at how much of a change this Chisel and Bits has brought to this particular build. Like, look at all those little details and all those little things. Let's zoom in together a little bit. And yeah, this looks pretty cool. So going into our next phase, once we complete this lower area, before we get to the gold door, things along those lines, I'm still going back and forth on how I want to do these windows. And I just have this kind of vision now for like a really kind of dark, kind of black wrought iron lines kind of going back and forth, very Art Deco in style. So I think that'll look really, really cool. So this thing also kind of reminds me a little bit of the Empire State Building. I don't know why. Of course, the Empire State Building doesn't have round tops, and Empire State, that kind of particular design style is very square, straight lines, things along those lines. But it still kind of reminds me of that, and I like that. It's pretty cool. So yeah. All right, here we go. Let's finish this lower section, and then we can get to the incredible little details that we still have planned today. Got those little line windows in there, and of course, still got to figure out that elusive gold door. That is looking like a fancy tower. I'm loving how we're able to really round off the corners and really transform this entire design today. Really, the original design I felt was okay, but I think we're really making it into something special now with that chisel and the bits. So let's kind of look around here a bit. So one of the things I was thinking about for in this corner right here is it needs a highlight in the center, and I'm considering using a little bit of black chisel block and a little bit of gold to try to create a little pattern in this intersection right here. But before we do that, let's take, chisel this one. And then let's do, right here. This is going to be perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this going all the way upwards. There we go. And for things like this, I never find paper to be that easy to run up designs like this. I don't know about you guys, but it always just becomes a hindrance. Sometimes you just got to do it the manual way. There we go. And we're going to run that all the way up to the top. And it looks like we're just short slightly. Let's push back here. Oh, perfect. It's flush. Beautiful. And then we're going to run this guy all the way up. Now, one thing we're going to have to do is take a little bit of this darker brown, and we're going to have to fill in this gap going all the way down. See that little gap of air right there? We're going to have to clean that all up and all the way up to the top. Whoop. No, not beautiful. Now it's beautiful. There we go. So yeah, I think that little design like that is going to look really good, especially once we get the little bit of air on that side knocked out. So let's actually do that together here. So if we slide on in here and then grab this one, there it is. And I think all we have to do is just give this a little bump all the way up, and I think that'll go away. There we go. Nice. All the way down. Beautiful. And then let's fly through the window once again. And yeah, that looks... Wait, that really changed the way it looks once we cleaned off that little side right there. Yeah, that's fantastic. Also, this little extra detail I added along the rim of our crown molding, just kind of chopped it up a little bit more. And then down below here, I did the same and also thickened this up a little bit. This is a little bit bigger than just one block now. I think that looks a little bit nicer, being a little more forced perspective, being a little bit bigger at the bottom, smaller at the top. I think that helps. So as for the interior of this design, that's tricky because we can take a couple things. So let's grab our gold and our black here, and then let's sneak on inside, because when you look at the tower from BioShock, it comes in many varieties, and it is very difficult, at least I found, to find the one from the game, because within the game, you can't really see it very well. It's kind of obscured because of the darkness and the smoke of the plane crash, things along those lines. There's a lot of other like concept art and artwork of it, but they all have a very different designs for their windows. So that's why we're just going to kind of make up something as we go along here. Beautiful. And then let's sneak out the back here and take a look at that. All right, so that blocks it all the way out, which I kind of do like. The only thing it needs is just a little bit of some kind of color in here, just something little. So what I was thinking was, what if we put like a little bit of some black lines, gold lines on the black? I think that'll actually look pretty cool. There we go. Something like this, I really do think could look cool. So I just let's reverse that real quick and then run this all the way to the top and just kind of get a baseline look. Yeah, something like that could be really cool. Now, I know it looks a little hokey at the moment, but I really do think we could do something cool with a little more detail. So say we start running up another line in the center like so, and then let's push a couple lines outwards this way. There we go. This is really rough. See, I goofed up this one right there because I just want to get a little bit of an idea to see if this is worth pursuing at all. And then we push back like that. Yeah, something like that could look really cool. Kind of gives it a bit of a mysterious feel, and especially once we get the kind of entranceway sorted out. Something like this could work. So give me a little bit of time here. I might, hold on, one last thing. I'm too big to go through the door now, apparently. What if we just took off just this one little layer like this, just so there was like a little bit of light poking through inside, just so this was almost like a little bit of a window, like a little bit of like a glass pane, if you will. How does that look? Interesting, interesting. Okay, this gives me a lot to think about. So let me work on this a little bit more, and then we can finally work on that doorway. Welcome back, and we now have all of the windows installed, and I am absolutely loving it. So this is where we left off. We were kind of building up these big corner piece windows, and I really think we have achieved something really special with this. So as you can see, I have this kind of darker material running along the sides, and that kind of highlights our gold decorational blocks. I've also added these kind of little black lines that go up along each one of these kind of ribs that kind of tapers inward. I think it adds a little bit more kind of dimensionality within the design, kind of brings it out a bit. And yeah, I think that's looking really cool. Now in the centerpiece, just kind of keeping it simple here, nothing too fancy in terms of that. Now moving up to the top, this is where it gets a little more intricate. So each one of these windows is all custom done. And I think each one of these has its own unique, interesting designs. Now, this is taking a long time. This is the next day because this took way more time than I thought it would. But I'm so glad I actually put the extra effort into it, because I think it came out really nice. Of course, like pieces like this were really easy. You just get some of your papers out, you copy and paste them into the spots. Now, other areas, especially these ones, required custom building for most of it on every corner because they take up a couple different blocks. It's not all just based on one single plane of a block. It's based on like 3 1/4. It's kind of intricate in that terms. Also, I've added these kind of little pieces here, just little highlights at the top and of course the bottom of the window. So I think that looks really nice. And yeah, what do you guys like? What do you like about it? Let me know. Or if you don't like it, let me know how you would have done it different. But I'm definitely loving that design. It's really, really coming out. So I've been working on the doorway, as you can see, just kind of carving into the pieces here. So let me grab out this one guy. There we go. And so what I'm doing is just kind of carving into the block. Starting off, everything I usually do in terms of chiseling bits is I start off with just the block and then break it down into a half slab or a stair. And then from that, just slowly and slowly add more and more detail to it. Instead of starting off with the little gold little tips and things like that, just you know, keeping it simple. Keeping it simple, getting these little details in here. And it's so worth it to actually spend that extra time with chiseling bits and see where it'll actually take you, because you just never know. There's just so many amazing possibilities. So I'm kind of pulling that back just a little bit. And I almost envision a future where Minecraft is when you do your vanilla, maybe even throw this mod in there. I know this will never be in vanilla, these kind of intricate details, but I don't know. And Minecraft's going in a lot of interesting directions this year, and maybe when you create your vanilla worlds nowadays, you add a little extra something like this maybe to it. I don't know. We'll consider a series maybe in the future sometime where we don't go full crazy modded, but you know, we add like maybe chiseling bits and a couple just kind of building enhancement mods. I think could be actually a really fun. Not get crazy with all sorts of powers and storage systems and all of those things, but it would actually be fun to have a series where we didn't get wild, but just had a couple of fun kind of building enhancement mods. And I hope there's more of these style mods in the horizon with developers, as not everything has to be redstone powered. I hope maybe there is some more like building mods, because these things are really fun. And there's a lot of potential within modded to do a lot bigger building designs. And I hope to do that a little bit more in the future. So just little details like this. I think that's slightly off by like 1. Oh no, it's actually fit on there perfectly. Yeah, look at that. And then of course, you know, if you want to get wild, wait, why do I have sand? Where's my gold? Ah, here's my gold. Watch this, guys. Watch this. Maybe. Sometimes this is terrible. Sometimes it's amazing. Whoa, hold on. Bam. There we go. So you can add little details like that. I don't think that's looking super great, but potentially even putting in something like that could look really cool. Give it a little extra detail. Anyway, I got to work on that door. I got to work on this lower portion, but we are almost getting to the point where this tower is done. It's a disco up here in the Bikini Bottom Tower. We've got the door installed, and yeah, it kind of looks like a disco ball a little bit. So maybe we just put on our bell bottoms and we just roll with it. Maybe, we'll see. I kind of like it, and then on other times I'm kind of looking at it and it's like it's a little bit busy with all those crazy little squares. But on the other hand, it's the only gold block that isn't, you know, has a lot of dark lines across it, and it maintains a really nice shine to it. Looking out over the other gold blocks, they just don't have the same look as this one, so I still kind of like it. I might try that one with the bigger squares, but unfortunately I got to get this video rolling here. I do want to get this block. I do have a message out to the developers of Foolcraft. Let's see what they say about getting that zinc, because it is definitely not in the world and I really want to try that. That is my ideal block for this. Yeah, it has those dark lines, but I think it would look really cool. But for now, we've got the door. I think it's looking okay. We got some door handles, we got some hinges, and that leads inside here, and I'm loving it. This thing came out really cool, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. We've got our windows installed, we've got all these little details, and we've really refined the entire build. Like, look at it from the beginning. Go back to the beginning of the video, and then come back here. Hello, welcome back. And as you can see, this thing is entirely rounded and detailed and has a punch with the color of the gold shining through. And yeah, I'm really liking it. We've kind of put our own interpretation on it, but also kind of retains that BioShock feel to it. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed today. This is the first time we've gotten back into Chisel and Bits to this extent. And guess what? I'm loving every minute of it. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, a like rating would be much appreciated. And until next time, we'll see you later. And don't forget to subscribe, because you may just become scarred for life.